can I help you? Wait, what? But what about the bird? Yes, the bird. I found it lying on the floor with a broken wing the morning she left. You broke the skewer!
I assure you it was him.
It's as if he can't decide whether to be angry or relieved that it was.
Why on earth did you have to break the skewer? I can't believe it. I was so sure it was Sylvie. Even worse, I thought she was trying to send me a message.
A tender type of hope. Something stirs in you. Perhaps this is why you broke it.
All right. Did she say anything else? About me, you know? Did she say anything about me? Really? I should give her a call then. Thanks, I guess. Was there anything else you wanted, or...?
Or can you give him a moment? Somehow you realize this is not going to net you any professional discounts. Already he's reverting back to defensive. The woman before you nods.
You're alive and well. Don't keep me waiting now. Oh. What about? A book about cockatoos? There should be...
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Siamese wards, your shadow looming over it like...
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent.
What is this place? Yes, but no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have a flashlight on us.
An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Yes, because it's closed. No need to look for supernatural explanations where a banal one will do. Now let's move on, shall we?
barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard. Why does it feel so familiar? No, it's not that. It's the stale smell of rubber, the squeaky sound of sneakers, your bruised knee against the mat, and a whistle. Then the feeling is gone. It's just a memory. A memory from another life, when you were young and fit.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then. It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore.
You manage to hoist it off the ground, but the barbell feels wobbly and dangerous. Your hands slick with sweat. Turns out you're no beast, just an old man with bad form. See? See? This place is cursed.
Proper weightlifting gloves would definitely afford a better grip.
Looks like someone tried to reconceptualize their business here. Look, the skis and rotor blades both bear the same Slipstream logo. It seems likely that they started out making one, failed to turn a profit, and then pivoted to producing the other. That's a good question. Reality is Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes. Like some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins casting wax-based magic. Translucent welkins with organs shining under their skin, and even ether welkins hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. Who are all those creatures? Fantasies of a tortured, feverish mind? You should adopt one of those welkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but a welkin. One of the welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-Welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Twarg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with Welkin, Green Welkin, Dread Welkin, and the High Welkin.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little Welkin creatures. Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game. This looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real. Political commentary. That one has a great beard too. Just look at those details. So much effort.
And for what? All gone. The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees groaning under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario, a desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. Minimi stands for a mini-meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of the universe." This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles, very pesantic. History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. Someone very important, the leader of a massive on-air game built by a conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through the Game Master's frequency. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. All of this is gone. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God, it's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button, a piece of paper.
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside. We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber. revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty, like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. Have you stirred the ghost of the doomed commercial area from its rest? Could this be its dismembered heart beginning to flutter? The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good morning. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian. Repeat it. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader? Yes. Is that the production schedule? If you are unsure, could you please take a look? Open the hatch on the compartment. Don't touch the wires. A current is running through it, but the core is safe. There's a filament inside. I need to know what it's called. Good. Please repeat.
Password. Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved. You should ask her for a hint.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Still no. Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Good. Please repeat that I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder Fortress accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to these filaments.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received.
Don't worry.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do? Fortress accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian repeater station. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall.
Doesn't it get lonely, sitting there all by herself?
Lonely? Why would it get lonely? I get to talk.
That's why she does it.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do for Tres Accident. Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine.
Okay, what do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? Yes, that is the question. It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games, only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers.
Utter madness, he thinks, as a compliment.
Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the Game Master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts. Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Garte, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an inter-isolary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately.
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... It's too late for that, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep moving.
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost, and the bear's eyes. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy? The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun. The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic. The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen mag.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You find the filament memory with the offsite copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care. Sully soif.
Looks like someone from that radio game company upstairs. I'm a little surprised they just left their property lying here. That's a plausible hypothesis. It belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes, only for a computer. Really? You don't have a single guess? Oh, I'm sure that child would love to get his hands on a filament memory. Even if he doesn't know what to do with it, he'd probably try to pawn it for speed, based on our encounter. Really? You don't have... Oh, I'm sure that... I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the iceberg fridge.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Seems like an old bunker from the revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs, rummaging around. You find rusty rifles hidden. Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest. But one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others. Take it. You're a police officer. Police...
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in a...
He likes this find. A few bricks have fallen. Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. An electric sizzle. The room is slightly quieter now. Only the black cable is plugged into the breaker box, while the red one lies neglected on the... Only the black cable is plugged into the... Something close to you dies with a...
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace. Color looks like this furnace has a face, and it's a face of agony.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices.
What are you doing? Wait, really? We should investigate, see if someone's upstairs.
Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then,
Hello?
you've awakened the entity.
Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
You hear a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a...
After you, officer.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Melius. So what kind of
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps she's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your...
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that...
Very good. My rate is 10 real per set. Unless you want... Take a look around and see if there is any particular...
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room. Growing out of... This person means you, or no one else. Absolutely no harm. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers?
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend. She's thankful for the security they provide her.
Nothing really.
Who cares about the dead body? We might be dealing with a malignant entity here. The lieutenant looks at his notebook. Then, the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because...
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it. She's not sorry to disappoint you. Informing on someone in a murder investigation would intrude upon her focused...
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney.
Creative.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. It's just capitalism. We only hear about tales of success, so it's often surprising to realize how many ventures actually fail. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow? Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in racks? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet some...
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
Malignant entity? What does that even mean? Some kind of sorceress? What about you, officer? Do you think I'm the...
Time has come to face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest.
Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane, but I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I...
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful. Plaisance is not going to like what you have to tell her.
More or less.
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad.
I guess it just wasn't the time yet. It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back. Kuno. Who's Kuno? Oh yes, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth. Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard. I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started...
It's not really full of that. No one would store.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza. Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milias. Who would have...
What's this?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a Sub Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that.
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? Not anything else? There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from betel. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. Really? Anyway.
Poor guy. Suddenly, you get a feeling that insects are important to the case somehow. It's hard to say why.
They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri. Sure, it's illegal, but it's not exactly anything extraordinary in business. Besides, Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no...
They were just props. Why return them?
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio.
She liked them.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw 2 of them.
That's understandable. Fantasies are serious things. The mind is the draw.
They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedule. The usual, they ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand...
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new... In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic. And...
She's right. Showing up to work on time is important.
Not the wisest decision. You would have lost all your savings.
The dice is black and fit.
Anything else? Oh boy, the fabled Revo Show ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by 2 guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to and by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Sounds like she really didn't like those girls.
It didn't. Occasionally the girls had their friends over, which doubled the amount of hairspray, skin problems and mood swings behind the counter. And they already had the bear. The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out mouthful. Eventually, Ravishell ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glace 5000. Glace 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccant.
Sounds cool. Why is everyone doing drugs in this place? Even the taxidermist?
Megatherion, a mega wild. It's an imaginary beast that by telling you to do more drugs, mostly.
The horrific necktie type tightens around your neck, strangely excited. But it doesn't feel particularly fun. This
What? Right. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire. Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me. I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion.
The doorbell with the empty name card must belong to her then.
That's right. I haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Center project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom. Oh,
If the whirling is part of the same building, then it's part of the doomed commercial area. The darkness of this place is there, too.
right. It used to be a gaming arcade. This is an ancient failure, before my time. My advice? Don't base your business on a fad. Hypnotism, fluorography, trick-track, especially pinball.
Agreed. Pinball is the worst.
His disdain for pinball could not be clearer.
It can't be true. They don't work here anymore. They've been gone for years. Are you sure it was Slipstream SEA? Was it a woman? Maybe it was Plaisance from the bookstore. Tricentennial Electrics? It used to be a major electric company 100 years ago. Are you sure it wasn't just...
No, it was something else. It was too real to be just a prank. Either we're dealing with a professional actress, or...
Pranks can be eerie. Oh, the kids these days. We were just one of them, and now they're terrorizing us. No solidarity. Why would Slipstream SEA have a 100-year-old recording as their doorbell message? I'm still convinced it was nothing.
My money is on electrical anomaly. I've heard of these, especially in an old building like this.
Sure, I'm listening. I'm pretty sure it's still... Sure, I'm good. I hope it clarified things a bit. I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a... Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. Ah, yes. Fortress accident. It's too bad they never... The Wiro untethered die is a variation of a standard role-playing die. Only, instead of plants, it uses motifs of ice and death.
Ice, death.
I'm thinking something made from alligator jawbone, cast in black resin. The reptile bone is as white as ice and dead as, well, death. For 7 real, I could have it ready in 8 hours. It's an icosy tetrahedron, a 24-sided die that can produce results for 2-sided, 3-sided, 4-sided, 6-sided, and 12-sided.
Loving it. So nifty.
Untreated bone is porous and prone to chipping. Cast it in something hard like resin though, and voila, it's perfect. Maybe you have some other ideas? What do you mean by cursed? Alright, how about I surprise you? Come back in 8 hours with 7 real, and I'll give you your cursed die. Maybe you have some other ideas for dies? A star that fell from the firmament? Those cost more than 7 real. Are you alright? Maybe some other die then? A normal die? I'm on novelty dice, polyhedral dice. Dice that have more than 4 sides. Octahedrons, trapezohedrons, dodecahedrons. But also barrel dice and teetotum bowls. Come on now, be a little creative. How about an amber die? Who told you amber was cheap? It's beautiful. For 7 real, I'll craft you a 13-sided die from a piece of amber with a fossilized insect. It's perfect for those who can't seem to let go of their past. I had a feeling. Maybe you have some other ideas for that? How about an amber die? Who for 7 real, I'll craft you. Maybe you have some other ideas for. No need to rush. Take. Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Of course. I think I have just the right one for you.
Police colors.
You're a police officer, right? Here, catch.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it. Mr. Smooth moves. You snatch the dice out of the air with one hand, just like you're in a movie.
Oh, what are the odds? The red one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay, and the blue one is the inverse. I believe these dice are your lucky charm, officer.
She winked back at you. Can you believe it? You truly are.
You definitely need luck in Martinez. Was there anything else? Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Officer!
And why would you do that? Undressing in a stranger's place of business? Yes, it was an unbelievably bad idea.
Miss, I apologize for my colleague's behavior. He's still recovering from an unusual...
That doesn't really excuse it, does it?
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for...
Yes?
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a... Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Oh, it's you again. Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
You're alive and well. Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? Yes, yes?
Tell her how ghastly it was. You know it's what she wants to hear.
I knew it. Oh, such horrors that have been thrust about. What else did you find? Did anything survive? No, of course not. Have you a novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom?
The narrative she's built herself. It does need tearing. Just don't say you don't have any answer yet. The uncertainty is killing. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
entire economic system is cursed?
This is a lot for her to pass.
Another revolution? I understand what's going on here. You went in there, rummaged around, and accomplished nothing. It's okay. You don't have to. I was wrong to trust another person. Thank you for nothing. Please, do buy some books, or be on your way.
Wow. Total psychic collapse between you two right now. There was never any other way this could have gone.
I am sorry we had to disappoint you, ma'am. Can we go now?
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to...
Hi, Ace Detective. Are you here for more?
We're still waiting for a replacement for the bull you sent sinking. Yes, the Debardeurs Union pays me to stand vigil during the night. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and...
He feels like he has to justify himself for some reason.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last Monday. It's a private matter. Nothing...
You see, officer, René is the kind of man would rather die than admit he needs medical assistance or, God forbid, seek it. A real man's man is...
I'm fine, goddammit. Mind your own business. It's nothing. Just got to cut back on no one. The boss has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday.
Yes. It's not actually an issue. I mean...
Look, officer, the container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individual.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiniers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words.
Look, officer, can we conclude the topic of my guard boost now? Yes, yes. Like I said, I would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp. What is this? Are you mocking us? This isn't for...
Now. No need to get angry again, René. I'm sure the officer tried his best. It's not like there's a bull kiosk here in Martinez.
Trying is worth as much as is accomplished. In this case, almost nothing. Fine. You try to right a wrong. It's still a gram better than actual nothing. It's a Bell McGrave, 4.46 caliber, breech loading, Revachol made. Good weapon. This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find.
The unpromising raised pupil returns. I am not the first line of defense. I am the last. In addition, these so-called hardy boys are an effeminate clique of bodybuilders. Their company is spiritually degraded. You pick up on something artificial in his tone, like he's putting on an act. This is unlike him. He is usually more himself.
Fine. They have recently fallen under the influence of a possibly sexually perverted female vagrant and a knockout. Find out for yourself. Endomorphic blob.
Interesting.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud.
If you must.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinier uniform. René looks like he's about to smile.
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fascination, but sure, as long as it doesn't take up a...
The purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul. Yes, I'm an old...
He feels like he has to justify himself for some reason.
She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse to discuss my private affairs with the...
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
She?
The lady is...
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. No.
No one?
Yes!
Look, officers. The container yard... Evrard created this job for René because...
Look, officer. Yes. Like I said, I would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses... The purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul, if he's got principles.
All you observe is a veteran refusing to let go of the past and his
This is the uniform of the Royal Carabineers in service of Frissel I, Guillaume le Lion, and the valiant King Philip V.
Don't you mean Frissel?
You do not speak his name, Craven, although he was a clown. But he was our clown. Ours to...
There's something you missed. You will get to it. Don't worry.
The purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul, if he's got...
As René turns from you to his partner and back, the medals on his chest rattle and glare. He keeps his spine straight and his ribcage lifted, displaying them proudly. Two, the larger one is shaped like a cross, while the smaller medal resembles the sun. A crowned head in front of two crossed rifles. The medal hangs from a blue-striped triangle. It's the Croix de Bravoure, Cross of Valor. The cross was the highest battlefield decoration in Suzerain's armed forces, awarded for exceptional bravery in the line of duty, in service of King a small blue star inside an orange sun. It has the word Valiant written below. The setting sun was a decoration used to distinguish seasoned combat veterans in service of King Frizzle I during the Revolution.
For bravery.
It's a conflicted topic for the old veteran. There must have been a number of controversial episodes in his service days.
For doing my duty in the heat of battle, for looking my mortality in the eye, when men like Gaston here hid in the bushes and shot.
He saved some muddy princeling who foolishly strolled into the front line in his gown of velvet and gold.
It was on the first months of the revolution here in Revachol. Unrest was spreading like wildfire. Marauders had taken most of the Couronne and were getting really. King Frizzle thought he could end it all in one decisive strike. Sent his cousin, Drisson, to put an end to the unrest. Alas, the young Drisson was all piss and no vinegar, wearing a tunic of purple velvet and cockatiel feathers to battle. Even his rifle was gold-plated, shone from 5 clicks away. Can you imagine the asininity?
Purple velvet tunic. That isn't exactly camo.
To keep the long and bloody story short, Drisson marched us against the partisans in Couronne. And when I say marched, I mean made us walk into captured enemy territory, single file, like toy soldiers, while he rode in front on his giant red stallion. The rebels were smart. They let us come real close before opening fire. Suffice to say, it was carnage. I got shot in the left shoulder and went down. Just a flesh wound. But just as I turned over, the prince fell into the mud next to me. He was missing his lower jaw, then his horse. Driven mad by the noise and smell of gunpowder, stepped on my leg and shattered my knee. I grabbed my sidearm and shot the beast in the head. Then everything went.
Capitaine Arnoux, le fléau des chevaux.
The bane of horses.
When I came to, it was all over. It was just me and Jolas Drisson, gurgling in the blood-soaked mud right next to me. The dink had taken numerous flesh wounds and lost a lot of blood. But despite missing his jaw, he seemed hesitant to die. Tougher than he looked, that one. So I grabbed the dink and started crawling. Kept going until the 59th Cavalry picked us up. Through some miracle, we both survived. And the jealous freak convinced Frizzle to give me a medal for not leaving him to die in his own blood. He was the commanding officer and I was on duty. Just doing my job. Shouldn't hand out medals for that. 13 months later, I received the Sun for distinguished service. It's not worth mentioning.
You sense he's downplaying it. He did a lot more than his duty. More than anyone's duty. It's in his spine. In his billowing breasts and untarnished self-worth. The old carabinier stands quietly like a statue. His features.
What Monseigneur Modesty is not telling you is that he crawled over 7 kilometers before the cavalrymen found him and Drisant. 2 days later that was. And that even while crawling with a mangled half-dead prince on his back, he still managed to murder 3 rebels on his...
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but Maybe even unbeknownst to the man himself, it's there.
Sorry, officer, but you're reading me all wrong. I'm a man of peace, and these kinds of bloody heroics are only impressive to men. How did you find the story to be, officer? Maybe, but also bear in mind, officer. They don't hand this out for anyone with a service record. Oh no, you have to get shot repeatedly, and you need to get your hands bloody too.
Do not speak of what you know nothing about, Poltroon. Duty is something you will never understand.
The old character.
What, Monsignor?
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but...
Sorry, how did you find the story? Maybe... Oh,
do not speak of what you know nothing about. Bah! There were many such stories in those days. Many such men, too. True.
Oh, yes, René, yes. Men were bigger, girls were treasure, and everyone wore the fascia. Lord, please, bring those days...
I'm not getting into this with you again.
You should try to come up with a heroic story of your own. Impress this old soldier.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabiner do for you?
Go long, go deep, go unconventional.
Sure, officer. Let's hear your take. I'm not following you.
He'll get it. Don't worry. Just continue. He's gonna be impressed. The man stares at you, silently frowning. The carabiner crosses his arms and spits in the crater.
You're talking about getting blackout shit-faced drunk and going into delirium, right?
The lieutenant looks up from his notes and nods to the old carabiner.
How so, then?
His tone is like that of a drill sergeant addressing new recruits. The lieutenant sighs.
And I thought getting my knee shattered and surviving on rat carcasses in the trench was bad. Here, have one of my medals. You've earned it, officer. Can we get back to our game now?
This feels honorable. You did the right thing not taking the medal. The good thing. It feels as though you should do more honorable things. As if there's some kind of a secret reward. If you just commit enough.
Vigilance officer,